Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're back. Once again, I'm here with the greatest tag team in the podcasting business, Tom, Ed, and we have a special guest from the Deep South, Brad. So, Brad, the whole effing South right there. So we're gonna kind of throw it around. We're gonna first start off, Brad. What introduce yourself and tell us what you kind of like to watch and what kind of background you got for pop culture knowledge.
Oh man, I mean, I love all sports mostly. Trying to pass all that on to my 7-year-old. So he's at that age where we're into wrestling. I mean, monster trucks, football, baseball, basketball. Just trying to dump all of that on him. And I feel like we're in that good window of sports and wrestling and even monster trucks, right? Where it's all just that new wave stuff that we can blend in with the nostalgia of when I was a kid. So I'm like, oh man, you should have seen this when I was a kid. You should have seen him when I was a kid. But all things pop culture, man, Marvel, Star Wars. I mean, you name it, comic books. I mean,
Nice.
I'm all about it, man.
Like, nice.
Into the Marvel stuff way before the movies dropped. So it's nice to see the movies now.
Right.
When I was a kid, I got called a nerd.
Yeah, and then you can critique the crap out of them like I do and say, like, what is going on here with these characters? Yeah. But anyways, that's
for sure.
We got a lot to talk about. If that's in your wheelhouse, then you're home. You are home.
No, definitely.
It's like I said, it's a fast half an hour, and we try to squeeze as much in as possible. So, so let's start, Ed, the way we usually do. Let's go to the email bag.
Yeah, man. Now I'm gonna go right to the top of the bag tonight. We're not gonna go deep tonight. This is from Darren. This is just a congratulations. Darren has been a huge supporter of us from the beginning. Just says congrats on the 20th episode and much success. And I better buy a tee or a hoodie, so I don't know where my money is going in those bank accounts. But for real, keep bringing it, Darren. Thanks, Darren. We really appreciate it, man. We really appreciate the support.
Stop being cheap. Buy a shirt.
In wrestling terminology, Darren is like John Cena. He's going to be a face for the rest of his life. Ever since I've known him since we were 5. So he's going to be. He's always the good guy.
So he's going to be JYD for life.
Yes.
Okay. So Ed, hit us up with our weekly email.
Well, this one comes from Stacy from Abington, Massachusetts. So thank you, Stacy, for sending in email. It's nice to have a female comment on it. This would be our number 2 female. So this one's about we're really crushing that demographic, don't you know? I mean, we're hammering that demographic.
They love us. They love us.
They do. They love us. Hey, we're a bunch of 13-year-olds, baby.
Yeah,
that's how we bring it. All right. So this is actually a great email. So this is about coaches and officials. Hey guys, want to get your serious take on coaching kids. My question is, should parents be able to dispute referee calls after watching video? P.S. would love to see a female on your panel. Well, Stacy, the list is long and distinguished on who wants to come on first.
You don't have to be last. You can actually be first.
That's right. That's right. And we'll even buy you the bumper sticker.
And maybe even we'll throw in a T-shirt for you.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So I'm gonna toss it. I'm gonna toss it out to either to Andy or Brad, because you guys both have people. You both have skin in the game on this one. So you guys choose first.
Go ahead, Brad.
I mean, that's my thing about it. In having coached a couple of Lucas's sports now so far, I feel like as a parent, and I mean this with like the utmost respect, like shut your mouths, watch the game, let the coaches coach. The refs and the umps, they're volunteers, or if they're getting paid at all, it's not a lot. They're human beings. They make a crap ton of mistakes, which is expected. That's also a part of sports. Let's be honest. Bad calls happen. Oh, let the kids play. If there's an issue, let the coaches address it. Like, parents should be cheering for their kids, driving their kids, getting them there on time, which is a huge deal. I found out this past baseball season. Other than that, let the coaches coach. I legit had to tell some parents last year, this past spring, to like stop. Like, I'll handle this side of the fence with the kids. You handle that side of the fence. Let me do my part out here, or we're not gonna get anywhere. You know. So I think parents just, I don't care how much cell phone footage, recordings you got. Let the coaches coach. Parents, you just cheer. Be the biggest advocate for your child, and that's it.
So, Brad, pretty much on the same page with me. He probably verbatim said what I was going to say, but I've been on both sides. And before kids, I ref for 3 years, and that was very eye-opening dealing with parents, and especially with the hockey, that so much money is spent. It's the most expensive sport. And then when you're dropping $3,000 for a season, I think the return they want is so much more than what the kids can actually achieve.
Yep.
And it's really tough to take yourself out of the situation. But on a coaching standpoint, what I used to have was the 24-hour rule. And I think if you're a coach and you watch this, tell your parents when you send out an email at the beginning of the season, say, if you have an issue, give me 24 hours. That way it gives you a chance to cool off and a chance to reflect on what your problem actually is. If it's the heat of the moment, you don't know. I've been on the bench before, and I've had altercations with kids that are misbehaving. I've had words with the referee too. So you don't want to get blindsided by, just another issue after a game, especially when it comes to the hockey. It's really, really over the top sometimes. And now you're seeing YouTube videos of parents losing their shit. So as far as videoing, unless it's something that you need to videotape to show the coach later on, kids misbehaving or punching each other, or a locker room incident or something like that, that you need some kind of video footage to go forward with it. Other than that, just keep your videos to yourself. Videotape your kid, highlights, goals, all that stuff, home runs, whatever. Keep it to yourself. Put it on your home movie collection. But as far as addressing the referees, what's done is done. They're all volunteers, and the coaches are volunteers. So just, I hope we answered your question, a little long-winded, but, in the heart of hearts, it's all about the kids. The parents have already played. It's about the kids. And remember that it's, you might have invested a lot of time, but you want to keep them playing. You don't want to deter them from playing, and don't make yourself out to be an idiot and embarrass your own kids. They're kids. So with that being said, I don't know if you or Tom.
I'll take it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll take it. First and foremost, I think that videotaping kids' sports, for highlight reels and stuff like that, I think that's great. And that should be applauded. Absolutely. Any type of like incident on the bench, or, like stuff that's not within the rules of the game and the framework of the game. Yeah, absolutely. This culture that we've kind of created with, getting every single call right with the NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, all that stuff. It's too much at a youth level. I mean, the thing about it is that, Andy and I have talked about this. Brad, you and I have talked about this at length. Look, it's the 1% of the 1% that's going to go to the show. Your kid is not going to go. If your kid is not tracking by the 7th or 8th grade or possibly 9th grade, they're not going to the show. Let them be kids. To pay $3,000 to play hockey or $3,000 to play baseball, like down here, it's ridiculous. I know of, let's just say, many of all-star teams that have been, at a coach pitch level that don't even need to be had. Like, let the kids be kids. Let them go out and play outside. They don't need to be out on a baseball diamond all weekend long from Friday night through Sunday night at a baseball field. Let them be kids. That's my take.
The best thing I can add to that is if you want to just look at it from a parent perspective, all roads lead to men's league. Some way, shape, or form, all roads lead to men's league. So with that being said, go ahead, Tom.
The only thing I'm going to add is, you guys all made great points. Brad, I had written stuff down. You guys mentioned everything I had actually written down. The only thing I'll add is referees aren't perfect. Like Brad said, if you want to do something as a parent, let the kids show the kids and let them know that life's not going to go your way 100% of the time. Make it a teachable moment and let them know and let them learn from this and grow from it. If there's
whoa. We need lightning bolts for that one. You mean life isn't fair? Come on. We need news flash. Like, we need, Providence, Rhode Island, like demon, like the demon snow. I agree with you, Tom.
The final thing I'll kind of touch on with that is, it's tough because you want to do the right thing, but a lot of times, just if you want to do the right thing and you don't think you're doing it the right way by being a spectator, then volunteer. Get in the game and volunteer. Don't just sit there and criticize. If you're not willing to be part of the solution, then you're just causing more problems. So with that being said, we'll move on. And Tom, you had some news that broke about what is it, DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins, yes. D-Hop signed with the he hasn't signed yet, but he's going to sign tomorrow with my Tennessee Titans. It's going to be a 2-year deal, and with all the incentives he's going to make it $15 million. Well, he could make up to $15 million this first year. I love the deal. He kind of passed up on the Patriots, but I love the deal for Tennessee. He's 31 years old. He can be a mentor to the young receiver, Treylon Burks, and he can teach him how to be a pro because the kid's only been in the league 1 year, and he was like the top receiver. He has nobody around, no veterans to really lean on, so he's going to have him, and I think he can't do anything but help whoever's the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, the young kid they drafted this year, Will Levis, or Malik Willis, who they drafted last year. I love the pickup.
Ed, thoughts?
I mean, I'm really disappointed being a Patriots honk, man. I mean, it's the Patriots needed a really good receiver like that, and they don't have him now. I mean, they actually had a chance to actually get somebody that was on the talent level of Randy Moss, like they did in the past, and they just didn't get it done. I think that as much as I love Belichick and the Kraft family and everything like that, like, it seems to me like there needs to be a little bit of an overhaul there of getting some more talented players in there. And I mean, because the book should be pretty clear now at this point, after all the Brady stuff and all that 20-year run that they had. So, it's disappointing, but, I don't think Tennessee's going to do anything anyway. So same thing with the Patriots.
Brad, what do you got?
Oh man, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. So for a split second, I wanted D-Hop. It was a fraction of a second. It was in the news. I've been praying, doing all I had to the football guys to get that guy. I think he's an instant upgrade. I don't care how old he is with sports science, sports medicine. If these dudes take care of themselves, I think he's still got a couple more years left in the tank. Going to Tennessee, I don't know if that's a smart move for him, but if he's happy, then that's all that matters. But
it's approach.
You made a good point. I'm not really sure who their quarterback is going to be this season, but if they can get somebody to just get that ball in the air between Derrick Henry and D-Hop, I think it's going to be a pretty formidable offense. They don't have a whole lot going on in that conference right now either, so I think it's wide open.
So, Tom, want to stay in that kind of frame and give us this week's picks of the week for your fantasy?
Oh, you brought to you by Tom Shitty Picks.
Shitty Picks.
Tom Shitty Picks.
So make sure buy a shirt, you cheap bastard.
Buy a shirt. Help the shoestring budget.
That's right.
All right, so this week, coming off of kind of a short week, so I didn't do picks for last week because of the All-Star break, but coming up this week, there aren't too many starters that actually had 2 starts coming up this week. There was like maybe 10 or 12, but my pitcher, I'm going with Aaron Nola from the Philadelphia Phillies. He's got 2 starts, one against Milwaukee and one against Cleveland, and both are in Philly. So, I mean, it's a bandbox there, but I think Milwaukee's they're hit or miss, so I think he can catch them on the I think he's going to get at least 1 win, probably between the 2 starts. He's going to probably get, I'd say, maybe 15, 16 strikeouts combined. So that's where I'm going pitcher. My hitter of the week, I'm going with Nolan Arenado from St. Louis. He's got 3 games against Miami and 4 against the Cubs in Chicago. And if you watch any of the Sox Cubs series this weekend, the ball was flying out of there. I think Arenado's going to hit 2 or 3 home runs this weekend, and he's going to have a big week. So there you go.
So before we move on
Tom
to
Shitty Picks.
Tom Shitty Picks, brought to you by Buy a Shirt. So before we get moving into some wrestling talk, talk Dark Side of the Ring with Adrian Adonis this week. Tom, quick on Galchenyuk, what he got busted for, the whole deal.
This knucklehead got arrested. Police showed up at the scene. Somebody had called the police. He had hit a stop sign in a curb. Cops got there as they were driving up. His friend was pulling him off the ground and putting him in the passenger seat of the car, and they tried to take off. Cops pulled him over eventually, and I guess he got belligerent with the cops, so they pulled him out and they arrested him. And I guess while he was in the cruiser, he threatened them, said he had ties in Moscow and that he was going to chop up their families and eliminate their bloodline. I mean, this kid just doesn't get it. I mean, if he wasn't a bust before with his talent, how he was 13 years in the league, I mean, as a number 3 pick in the draft in 2012, I mean, this has got to seal his fate in the league, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to work too well for him next season with whatever they do, whatever they decide. You might see the KHL band playing for him for from here on out. So that's the only quick hockey news we have this week. But yeah, I figure it was a little noteworthy because of all the drama with it. But so let's talk Dark Side of the Ring this week, Adrian Adonis. So I'm going to kick it to you guys. Thoughts? Go ahead, Ed.
Well, I mean, it was definitely eye-opening. I mean, I remember him being – I remember when he was when he was like that young – kind of like the young thug, like New York City, dressed like the brawler and everything like that. And then you could definitely see, it seems like it was kind of a pattern for Vince back in those days to, take guys that had like really good on the mic, really good in the ring, and create this character that just didn't quite kind of mesh with like who they really were. And, he did the same thing with Dusty too. So, I mean, it would be kind of amazing to see what they would actually do. What he could have done with his talent if Vince didn't put him in that pigeonhole with that gimmick, so it's sad to see that he died inside the road, in a van. That's a terrible way to go. Just saying.
You guys, what do you got?
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, it is heartbreaking, but I mean, if you look back in that era, like that time frame of wrestling, even despite Vince and maybe some of these bad decisions on writing and character development, and that was like the steroid, cocaine, booze fueled party era of wrestling. And I just, I watched a couple of episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, and JR now is very remorseful of how he didn't step in. It's like, maybe I should have said more, maybe I should have done more. I'm like, dang, absolutely, yes, you probably should have. In that time frame, people were kind of off the rails. Me and Ed we'll sit there at work sometimes and watch these old wrestling promos. We're like, yeah, there's some outside influence going on. Yeah. It's off camera for sure.
Before I
a couple of nose bumps, to say the least.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, before that, I get Tom's take on the Adrian Adonis thing. I just want to mention that it was kind of refreshing to finally hear somebody say, and it was from Adrian Adonis's crew, how that they all were doing it. There's no kayfabe with only this guy was doing it and that guy was doing it. I thought the Jim Brunzell, Bret Hart thing where they actually confirmed it, where Bret Hart went up to the room and Neidhart was in there, and they had to they were so paranoid that Bret Hart was Stu Hart's kid. Should we let him in? Is Stu Hart going to blackball us because he knows that we're doing this stuff? I thought at least I like when they tell it truthfully. I hate when they sugarcoat it or tiptoe around it. If somebody doesn't want to say something, say it. It's not affiliated with any other wrestling promotion. It's not WWE affiliated. So say what you got to say. You guys have made your money. You're not getting rich anymore. So say it. Tom, take it.
Well, the one thing I'll add is I thought he had kind of a JBL thing where he had that reputation backstage of being a tough guy, and then in this episode, they talk about how he got knocked out by Dan Spivey backstage, and he kind of lost his mojo backstage, and he kind of lost a little respect. And that's kind of what happened with JBL with Joey Styles. So it's kind of funny how everything kind of circles around, and I mean, history repeats itself, I guess.
Yeah, and the Dynamite Kid kid thing wasn't too long after that.
Yeah.
So, that the late 80s were kind of like a culmination of all the drugs and alcohol and the abuse and the guys running wild with what they were doing. But, he was talented. I mean, I was never, a mock for aesthetics for these guys. If you could put on, a decent show and wrestle, I never cared really what you look like, unless it was like there was only one Lex Luger at the time. There was only one Paul Orndorff at the time. There wasn't a ton of them. Now everybody looks like a fan coming out of the audience is in the ring now. I'd love to. My dappy desire with wrestling would see a portal open up and it's on an AEW show. Bruiser Brody steps through and sees Orange Cassidy on the other side and kicks the crap out of him. That's my dappy desire with the way the current state of. I miss the fear factor of the guys that are in the ring being legit. I don't want to go and see guys that you work with, or they just. This guy drives school bus during the day and then wrestles at night. I don't want to see that. But we got Brad. Brad, we touched on this a couple other episodes in the past. What is your feeling on the current state of pro wrestling?
That's so hard because
Come on, Brad, let it fucking rip, bro.
all right. All right. Truthfully, we watch a little AEW, a little bit of WWE. We just started getting into a lot of the action figures and stuff. It's definitely not as good as the Attitude Era. I think it peaked when we were younger. I don't think there's the star power that they used to have. There's definitely no more Hulk Hogan's, Rocks, Ric Flairs, even Triple H, who was kind of a bore when he wasn't doing DX stuff. Like they don't have personalities. It's a lot of maybe it's the writing. I think they made the same mistakes as UFC. I think they invested too heavily into they thought the fans wanted to see women's wrestling, and we'll watch a pay-per-view. Half the Royal Rumble is women's wrestling. You got to sit through an hour and a half of a women's Royal Rumble that's not that exciting. No offense to the sport, just to get to the men's Royal Rumble. By that point, my kid's asleep. I'm bored, and we're putting it on pause and watching the next day. I think they need to find somebody that can launch it back into that stratosphere of what it was 10 years ago. And right now, I mean, I'm really big on the American Nightmare. I think that guy, obviously the lineage, I think he's the one. If they could invest in him, if he could stay healthy, I feel like every time he starts going, he gets hurt. And in AEW, they just kind of keep riding this wave of nostalgia of these guys that Chris Jericho, CM Punks, and guys that kind of past their prime. They need some new talent. These guys need to pass the torch. They need to keep the ball rolling, or I'm afraid kind of, the sport may be running its course. I don't know if that's, too heavy to say. And you know what, man? Bring back Degeneration X. Like, let's get it back, man.
Well, they're definitely not bringing back the NWO. I'll tell you that.
Let's bring back some of that craziness, though. DX, like the last WrestleMania, the LWO resurfaced, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what we need right now. Is some counter hero, groups that these youngins don't know that much about. That can kind of bring some more attitude in. I was like, well, if they brought the LWO, they're going to do the NWO. It didn't happen, but. That's they need something. They need to pour some gasoline in there and get it going again. Maybe get the guys some steroids and coke again. I don't know.
The guy that I am so enthralled with watching because he reminds me so much of a student of the old school is MJF. That guy is a heat magnet, and I love it. I love it when he comes out and he says, "I am not doing dives. I am not doing flips. I am here to do as least amount as possible, and you're only going to pay me to wrestle on pay-per-views, and that's the only time I'm defending the belt." I love that because it pisses off the modern fans that aren't into the sync of how it used to be. So it's almost like a little bit of what it used to be. I don't think you should see any world titles defended on regular TV. Call me crazy. I think you should have to pay to see it. I think it should be whether AEW's got a nice schedule because they're big pay-per-views. They only have 4 of them. So they got that 3-month window to work a good storyline. And if anything will tell you that a storyline will work these days, that bloodline storyline, fantastic. What they've been able to do with that, and it shows you that the money is in chasing the belt where a heel has it. Flair style, the Bob Backlund style does not work. It's keeping the belt on a heel that just gets away at the end, and that's where the money is. That keep the underbelt. You can do whatever you want with it, build talent like that or whatever. But that FTR match last night with the gun, what a match! That was one of the best wrestling matches I've seen on TV in a long time. You know why? Because FTR has the old school mentality. They slow it down. They tell you a story. They're not doing 1,000 flips. If you watch, I'm not a Young Bucks fan, but you've seen one match, you've seen them all. They used to shit on Ric Flair saying that every match that he did was the same. Those guys, every match is the same. You watch Hangman, every match that he has to do that backflip off the top turnbuckle out into. Is it necessary? It's not. You've seen it. And you know what's coming, so nobody's got the nuts to tell him, dude, you don't need to do that every match. Slow it down. We know what your gear is, but take it easy a little bit. Tom, I need your thoughts before we go to the end of the podcast. But why don't you watch wrestling the way you used to? Put it out there.
I just can't get involved in it. I just don't. Once they signed the contracts with the networks, they've kind of gone too PG for me, and it's gotten, like Brad said, you got to get more edgy. You got to get more. I mean, not that back when we were kids in the 80s, it got edgy, but they did stuff where it's not. I mean, it seemed real, and these guys today, it's just like you say with the. How many times can the Young Bucks kick somebody in the head with a super kick? I mean, the dude super kick like 12 times in a match. I mean, just the same old, same old. I want to see something different as I get older. I mean, and I am like the old school, like, as you said, I love Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton's supposed to be coming back soon. So all these older guys, they know how to do it. They know how to sell. These guys got to realize, the younger guys got to use the psychology. They need to listen to the old guys that are in the locker room and let them mentor them and tell them what works and what doesn't.
I hate when you shit on a finisher, like the super kick was a finisher. Now it's just
Chris Adams, baby.
Yeah, it's just a lead up move. It's just a lead up move.
Yeah, you watch any match, if there's a super kick, they'll super kick 10 times.
Yeah.
And still not get the pinfall. Or like, what is going on?
Yep. So we got about 4 minutes left. Tom, pick of the week, CD.
Yeah, CD, this week I was in a dark place, bad mood all week, FTW type of shit. So I went kind of goth this week. And I got Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar. Just one of those things that I love Beautiful People. Tourniquet was one of my favorite songs off of the album. Antichrist Superstar, of course. I like probably my unsung favorite song is Dry It Up, Tied and Dead to the World. And the dude, I've seen these guys probably 2 or 3 times, and the guy he's a freak, but man, he puts on a pretty good show.
Definitely a showman. Yeah, it's one of those things that either Antichrist Superstar was probably the entry level into whether you were into Marilyn Manson or not. Always puts on a good show. Very Alice Cooper, very Rob Zombie. You're going for a show. Put all that other stuff aside. He's going to give you a show. He's going to give you your money's worth. Definitely. When you never know what could happen. If he's in a good mood, you're going to see a lot of good stuff. Or if he's in a bad mood, he's going to end it early.
We've seen like a 15-minute show before.
Yep. Cut himself, was bleeding all over the place. Ended the show after 15 minutes. It was crazy. And it was Halloween night, and he made us wait all the way till midnight for that freaking bastard to come out. But anyway, so what we usually do is last couple minutes, we usually give a couple shout outs to the people that we've been thinking about. And Ed, let's start with you. You got any quick shout outs this week?
Yeah, just not much down here. Just miss everybody from back home, and thanks for watching us and listening to us. We really do appreciate it, and talk to everybody soon.
Yeah, I think Tom, you got anything really quick? We got like 2 minutes.
Yep. I just want to thank everybody for watching, and I'm repping Brock Street Brewery and our buddy Scotty Peppin this week. Talked to him briefly on Messenger this week, and he's still watching. Want to appreciate and say I appreciate everything he's doing for us.
Still waiting for my shirt.
Brad, you want to give any shout outs
Pony Express?
to family, friends, guys down at work?
Oh man, just yeah. Shout out to Ed for bringing me on and inviting me on like that. And thanks to you guys. This is my first podcast experience. So really excited about it. This was a lot of fun. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Listen, we're definitely going to have you on again, Brad. You can tell right off the bat if somebody fits in, and we're definitely going to get you in. We got all summer to try to get a couple of people on, and we'll try to get you in the rotation, especially when we're talking wrestling and when we're talking,
Football.
Yeah,
Football, baby.
Football,
College
football.
football too. Can't wait.
Coming.
Oh,
We're
y'all want to hear me on no college football?
We're gonna do picks during NFL season. We're gonna do like our picks at before the games and stuff like that, and see how close we get. We did that with the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I think we had a lot of fun with that, and I think it worked out pretty good. So with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up this week. So for these two turkeys and our new buddy Brad, we're gonna wrap it up this week and stay strong, support the channel. We gotta get it going. We're trying to get it going every week. So
Push his fan up by the shirt.
yeah, stop being cheap. You people are freaking cheap. Later, everyone.
Good job, bro.